As we've entered a new year, I've been doing a lot of thinking and reflecting on this past year of 2024. This past year was such a sweet and special year for my husband and I as I gave birth to our first child. So this past summer we had a little son, and he has been the biggest and the sweetest blessing of an addition to our family. Since then, our entire world has basically changed, and we've been doing so much learning and growing and figuring out how to be a mom and how to tend to this little boy of mine. So it's been such a sweet season, but also it's had its own hardships and challenges in this new transitions that we've been going through. Since giving birth, I have spent these days at home soaking up time with my son, bonding with him, and learning how to be a mom and how to take care of him. And I've been really grateful for the time that I've had, and I feel like even just this season of being on a 1-year maternity leave has been such a blessing and something that I don't want to take for granted. It honestly seems crazy to me that I am here on this maternity leave because I'm actually an American citizen. I got married about 4 years ago, and I married a Canadian. So it's pretty wild to think that if I was still living in the States, I would likely just get a 2-month maternity leave. Whereas by just coming across the border to Canada, being a permanent resident, not to say that that wasn't like a bunch of paperwork, because it was, but by just like coming over the border, like I'm entitled to this whole year off to cherish and to learn how to be a mom and to take care of my son is just so wild and crazy to me. And I think it just makes me so grateful to be here, and just to see the value that Canada puts on the family unit is something that I really super appreciate. And so with my time being off, like I was already thinking about this before I gave birth, because it was just so mind-boggling to me that I was going to have the entire year off. I'd been telling myself that I really want to dig in and I want to make the most of this season. Not only do I want to like learn and figure out how to be a mom, how to take care of a baby, but I want to use this to kind of invest in myself and invest in the future of my son's life and in my family, and even in the future babies that we have, God willing. And so with that, I'd been telling myself, like, I want to make the most of this year. I want to dig in and like get stuff done and learn new things. And so one of my main things is that I really want to learn how to cook. I want to learn how to bake. Basically, I just want to learn how to work in the kitchen, because I honestly feel like I am really not great at cooking or baking. I mean, whenever my husband and I got married 4 years ago, he was making fun of me on our honeymoon because I was making spaghetti, and apparently I didn't even make it correctly. And like, that's spaghetti. I will say I have come a bit farther than that, but honestly it hasn't been that far at all. I have so much room to learn and to grow, and so that's what I want to do this year. With the calendar flipping from 2024 to 2025, more than anything, it's really just felt like a wake-up call to this plan that I had in my head, that I want to dig in and I want to learn how to cook for myself, my son, and my family, and just realizing like I have not been doing that, and I am 5 months into my maternity leave, so I've got about 7 months left. So basically, it's time to get to getting. Here I'm working on making a small sourdough loaf, which sourdough is something that I took an interest in, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, and started kind of playing around with it. I would still definitely consider myself a beginner. I've only attempted a few recipes, like a basic loaf, some sandwich bread, dinner rolls, and pizza crust. I think that's about it. And anytime I make like an actual traditional basic loaf with the 4 ingredients, I'm never quite confident, as whenever I like gift them away, I'm like internally a little bit like worried and telling people like, I hope it's okay, I hope it's cooked all the way. So it's something that I definitely want to grow in my abilities and grow in my confidence with this year. Though with my time off, I don't want to just force myself to make new recipes, as that's something that I wouldn't say I necessarily look forward to. It kind of feels more like a chore, and this is me pushing myself to better myself and better my cooking abilities. But there are some other fun things that I want to dig into and actually take action on, but I've just kind of felt like I've been holding myself back from. And that's because I feel like I've been pretty much consuming and using my time for my Etsy shop, which has been a cozy little hand embroidery Etsy shop that I've held on to since 2019. I actually started it, I think, like right before I went to university, and I've just been carrying it along with me since then. It's honestly pretty wild to think that whenever I started that Etsy shop, I honestly had no idea what I was getting myself into and what kind of a rabbit trail it would take me on. But now that I'm here past my university years, I still have this shop, and I honestly feel like it's kind of at this point just holding me back, and I've just been feeling really burnt out from it. And there's a couple of products in it that I'm actually planning to remove so that I can focus my efforts elsewhere, like on my son, on learning how to cook, and doing some other hobbies that I have been wanting to try out for the first time. And one of those new hobbies or a new skill that I want to learn is learning how to sew. So I was actually handed down a sewing machine, which has been super amazing. I've made a couple of small projects on it, but I really want to dig into that and actually learn how to sew and make some quality projects. And I feel like the only way to get better at it is to just start. And so I want to spend some of these days also learning how to sew, which I'm really excited about. Another fun thing I want to pursue with my time off is making my rental feel more like home. So I have dreams of living in a home that I can actually fix up and kind of renovate and do the real projects that aren't rental friendly. I have dreams of having a big garden and growing my vegetables, having a fenced in yard for my husky, but right now that's just not reality, as the housing crisis, the rent crisis in Ontario is very real. So we're basically confined into our little 2-bedroom townhouse that we were able to get for honestly a really good price for rent, which is so crazy. And while it's not like exactly where I want to live or I dream of living, instead of dreaming or dwelling on the future and where I hope I can be someday, I really want to take this time to just enjoy what we have, make the most of what we have, and make the space that we do have more cozy and personalized. And one way I love to do this is with DIY projects like this wall, for example. I had to do everything in it renter friendly, so my faux fireplace is actually a bookshelf that I turned around and put brick stickers on and painted, and then the shiplap on the wall is actually just graphite pencil marks. And then the picture hanging on it is just a print off of Etsy. So I would love to do more DIY projects throughout this townhouse to make it feel more personalized and allow me to let my creative freedom run and bleed on the walls, kind of. So I'm really excited about that, as I have a lot of ideas for things that I want to do. I've just honestly had a hard time committing to it, as I'm somebody who just thinks about things for a long time, or has a hard time committing to something, like putting a nail in the wall and officially deciding where a picture frame is going to go. And so instead of waiting, I just want to live this season up, because who knows how long it will last, who knows how long we'll be renting. So instead of waiting forever to get my projects done, I just want to go ahead and make this place feel like home and move in, especially as we already have our first child, and I just want to make a cozy place for him to grow up in. No matter how long we're here for, if it's another 5 months or another 5 years. I hope it's not 5 years, but if it is, I might as well start making it cozy right now. So I am super excited for that. I'm honestly super excited for this year and this new trajectory of my YouTube channel. And so here I'll be sharing the things I'm learning as like a new mom and kind of like a new homemaker. I feel like learning how to cook, learning how to sew, learning and making new DIY projects. And so I want to bring you for that journey, and hopefully we can learn a thing or two together. And I hope that this inspires you to create in your own home as well. So thanks so much for joining me today, and I will catch you next week here on St. Rogers Street.